Hi everyone, thank you for watching this video. This is BoxPred. It's been roughly 4 years since I posted my last video, which was, I believe, Sergey Kovalev against Andre Ward. But I'm back and I'm looking to make some more videos, and if you've been here before, you know we talk about boxing. So just before I begin, if you're a long-time subscriber and you're still hanging around, a big thank you. Hopefully I can repay some of your loyalty. Drop me a line. It'd be nice to reconnect with some people in the community from several years ago. I think I started making videos about 10 years ago now, and then I had a bit of a break before and I came back for a little while. So thanks for joining me, and hopefully I can continue this and we can keep going for a while yet. So I'm going to try and keep this quite concise. I'm aware that there's a lot of media out there, there's a lot of information you guys take in. I don't really want to keep regurgitating the same thing you hear on other platforms, so I just want this to be personal, my personal view. So what I'll do is I'll just give you, kind of briefly touch on the outside factors to this fight, and then look at each fighter individually, and then we will put them together and I'll give you my prediction for the fight. So briefly, the outside factors, the real main thing people talk about in this fight is the layoff that both of these guys have had because of coronavirus and things have gone on. I don't really place too much stock in all that, really, because it's been the same case for both fighters. They're both learned fighters, they're both in their prime. You can't really say that they're at a stage of their careers where they would struggle with that type of thing. They're both in good shape. And I believe they both stay in pretty good shape. I've never seen Wilder out of shape. I know Tyson Fury has been out of shape in the past, but from what I've been hearing, that he's been keeping himself in pretty good nick. And as he mentioned in an interview I recently heard, he was talking about the fact that he doesn't really need a long camp. And I think when you get to this world level, this elite level, you've been boxing for so long, you don't really need a long camp. So let's look at Tyson Fury first. Basically, what would my game plan be for Tyson Fury? That's what I like to ask myself when I'm analysing these fights and wondering how they're going to go. I'm thinking, how would I put him in the ring? And really, I think he needs to maintain that level of aggression. I think that Deontay Wilder was so uncomfortable on the back foot. But I also think he needs to mix it up a little bit, because he might want to kind of take breathers. He might want to switch up the timing, switch up the distance between them. The thing with Fury, I would feel like this guy, I can let him off the reins and I can let him figure out his own path in the ring. That's what I like about fighters like Fury, and that's why I feel his type have an advantage, because they're natural fighters. You can't teach that. He knows what's going on in the ring. He has a feel for the fight. Some fighters don't have a feel for the fight. They don't know the fight they're in sometimes, and they think they're winning when they're not, and they don't know when to switch things up. They don't see danger. They don't necessarily recognise risk. So for me, I'm saying to Fury, go in there, predominantly look to be aggressive, but be careful, because in the previous fight, I feel that he was taking some risks and leaving himself open on the front foot sometimes. And it's only because it was Wilder, who we'll get onto in a minute, who can't fight on the back foot, that he got away with it, okay? He needs to be a bit more cautious this time, because if Deontay Wilder is being looked after the way he needs to be looked after, then that could be risky, very risky, okay? So Fury needs to use a little bit more caution, work his way in a little bit better with a jab, but still apply that pressure. 3 things I'll be working on with Wilder: defence, stamina, and punching on the back foot. Almost counter-punching work, if you like, okay? So firstly, I mentioned defence. It goes without saying, he got beaten up in the last fight. He's not got the best defence. He's never really had to use his defence to that degree, okay? So really what I'm doing with Wilder is I'm putting him in sparring sessions and with big guys, and I'm saying, put pressure on him, put his back on the ropes, and let's get him used to being with his back on the ropes. Let's get him used to being under pressure. Let's get him working on those defensive skills when he's on the back foot. Secondly is stamina. I know the guy's in good shape, but he was really struggling in the last fight. I think that's primarily due to the beating he was taking. But if you're working on your defence to try and stop some of those shots coming through, and you work on your stamina, because it can never be too good, let's face it, stamina can never be too good. Now, the main focus is the third one. I don't see Deontay Wilder outboxing Tyson Fury. Most people don't. What you're going to do, you're going to learn how to punch on the back foot. You've got the power, you've dominated on the front foot your whole career, you blasted guys out of there. We know you've got the front foot game, that's game plan A. You coming forward is bad news for Fury, okay? He's difficult to catch, but that's where you want to be, ideally. But what happens after that? In the last fight, when Fury put pressure on you, didn't know what to do. You couldn't punch on the back foot, you couldn't counter, okay? That's what we're going to do. We're going to turn you into a bit of a counter puncher. You don't have to be Juan Manuel Marquez, okay? You just need to learn to punch on the back foot. You need to be able to, when Fury takes those risks, when he lunges in, which he was doing in the last fight, even from early on, he's being the aggressor, okay? He's taking those risks. We want to punish him. You've got the power, you got it on the front foot. Let's just transfer that to the back foot. Suddenly you got game plan B. We already had the front foot, now we got the back foot. Now we got a bit more of a complete game, okay? Also, I do a bit of maybe turning on the ropes. If you're on the ropes, you want to turn your opponent. Because you can turn it. It's quite difficult with someone like Fury, I know. Very difficult. But you need to be able to know how you're going to turn your opponent. And suddenly you switch the back foot to the front foot like that. Now you're where you really want to be, okay? So you got two strings to your bow. You used to have one, now you got two. That's the only chance I see for Wilder here, and that's how I would be, that's what I would be telling him, okay? So I think I'm going to leave it there, actually. I think I've spoken for long enough. I've given you my thoughts, what I would do with each fighter. That's what I think they should both really be working on. For this fight, I'm going to go with Tyson Fury, and I'm going to go with a stoppage down the stretch. I think in the second half of the fight, he's going to get to Wilder and end up stopping him. That's my take on the fight, guys. If you stayed with me this long, I thank you. And like I said, drop me a line and then let me know your thoughts on the fights. And please look out for my future videos. I'm looking at doing a video on the heavyweight division in general, just to give a bit more of a broader overview of my thoughts. That might be my next video, actually. But there may be some other fights I want to cover, so let's see. But either way, I'll be posting more videos. So once again, thanks for joining me, guys. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. This is BoxPred. Until next time.